I want you to picture this with me. You text one of your friends and ask them, "Hey, how are you?" It might take a while, but then they reply and say, "Honestly, I'm not exactly fine. I've been feeling numb lately and drowning in self-hatred. I feel like my existence is pointless, and even though I'm with my family, I feel like a huge burden and just want to disappear." Now they tell you this, what do you do? What do you text back? Many thoughts will probably start running through your head like, how can I help? Are they thinking of suicide? Should I have asked them how they really were? What am I supposed to say next? First off, just take a deep breath and calm down. Secondly, this episode was recorded to help you in situations like this. I know the feeling of being burdened with that kind of information. All the thoughts I said would possibly run through your head were what I had when this happened to me. But the good news is there's a way you can offer support and help them get better. Even if it's someone you're in a very close relationship with that opens up to you like this, listen to the end of this episode to find out how to support them. Welcome to Healthy Minds Talk, a podcast created to help you grow, bring awareness to mental health, and also remind you that it's not all in your head. There's hope, even when your brain tells you there isn't. I'm Praise Victor, and I remain your host on this show. Now, how do you know your loved one is struggling with suicidal thoughts? Now, some people wouldn't be that confident, like I said at the beginning, that they just open up to you if you ask them, "Hey, how are you?" But the thing is, some people would not be that confident to tell you how exactly they are feeling, because not everyone feels comfortable sharing these kinds of struggles with others, no matter how close the relationship is. So how do you know if your loved one is struggling? Like, what are the subtle signs you see? What exactly should you watch out for? Now, the first thing I'll tell you to do is to be aware of how they talk. For example, if they start talking about having no reason to leave, being a burden to others, or them feeling trapped and hopeless about life, then there is a tendency that they might be having suicidal thoughts. The second thing you should watch out for is their behavior. If they start isolating themselves, they start sleeping too much or sleeping less, or they just start randomly visiting or calling people they love, thanking them and saying goodbye in a very weird way, or even if they might just start giving out their possessions or things that they really love, and they might just start giving those things away, then you should be mindful and check up on them regularly. The third thing you should watch out for to know if your friend or loved one is struggling with suicidal thoughts is their mood. Are they showing signs of depression or anxiety? Have they become passive aggressive? Are they irritated by everything and everyone? Have they lost interest in activities that they once loved? If the answer to all these questions is yes, then you need to listen to the very end of this episode to know how you can help them get through this. And I want you to know that these signs that I just mentioned in their conversations, their behavior and their mood, these signs do not necessarily mean that your friend is having suicidal thoughts, but it will go a very long way if you check up on them while this is happening. So now that you know the signs to watch out for, how can you help? How can you help a loved one that is struggling with suicidal thoughts? Now, the first thing to do is to ask them directly. Like I said before, it's not everyone that will be confident or comfortable enough to open up to you about their suicidal thoughts. So you need to take the first step and ask them. After noticing the signs I've mentioned in their conversations, behavior, and their mood, you need to check up on them and just ask them plainly. Don't just ask, "Hey, how are you?" and then they say, "I'm fine," and then you leave them even after you've seen the warning signs, because there's a very high tendency that they are going to say, "I'm fine," even when they're not. We all do this. We all know that sometimes we may be in a bad place and then someone texts, even if it's someone close to us, and the person texts us and is like, "Hey, how are you? How have things been going?" And you just say, "Fine, been fine, I'm okay." and you do know that you're struggling, but you don't want to open up. So this might be the same situation for the person. So don't just say, hey, how are you? And then they say, I'm fine. And then you just leave them like that, especially after you've seen those signs, those warning signs. So here's what you can do instead. You can tell them about the signs that you've seen and ask them questions like, how are you really feeling? Are you thinking of hurting yourself? Are you thinking about ending your life? Or what's really going on? Just let them know that you really care, that you've been noticing them. Maybe they're posting some weird stuffs on their status updates or on their Instagram stories, talking about how they're tired of life, feeling hopeless, ready to end life. You just message them and check up on them and be like, what's really going on? Are you thinking about ending your life? Are you thinking of hurting yourself? How are you really feeling? Just make them know that you've been watching them maybe from afar, but now you're like really interested in what's going on, like you really care. Because I just want you to know that some people, they might see these warning signs in their friends or their loved ones, but they wouldn't want to ask because they think that if they ask, then they would probably be worsening the situation or be amplifying it in a person's mind or whatever. But I want you to know that asking someone about suicide or suicidal thoughts will not make them do it. Instead, it creates a safe space for them to talk about their feelings and, just process it. So the second thing you can do, if they do open up to you, is to listen without judgment. As they open up to you about what's really going on with them, just be really sympathetic. Don't shame them or tell them that they have no reason to feel this way. You need to be patient and accepting of the fact that that's how they really are feeling, that like that's how they are, like that's the state that they are in. Don't try to talk them out of their feelings. They're carrying so much emotional baggage and burden with them, and you can be that safe place where they offload it. It's relieving to have that person that they can open up to. So just try as much as possible to be that someone that makes them not regret opening up, because your presence, your compassion, and your support, they really do go a long way. Now, another thing you can do is to be mindful of your next words. There's a very high tendency that you're the first person, your friend or loved one that's struggling, you're the first person they open up to. And whatever you say next after they tell you about their situation, it holds the card of whether they'll open up to another friend or a mental health professional again. So after they've opened up to you, they're in a very vulnerable state. Now, while it's hard to know the right words to say in situations like this, how you frame your next words is really, really important. So don't say something like, you need help, or like, oh my God, you need to get help. While that might come from a place of concern, it isn't exactly the encouraging statement that you think it is. You can always reverse it or just reframe it into something like, have you considered reaching out to a therapist? Or, I'm always here for you, but don't you think talking to a therapist would be really helpful? This serves as a reminder that while you do care about them and you're ready to support them, you still do not have the right resources to help them. So this is like a form of you being there, a form of you sharing your presence, sharing your compassion, and also a subtle form of you encouraging them to get professional help. And you can also say things like, thank you for telling me. Is there any way I can help? Or, this must be really hard for you. I want you to know that I care about you and I'm ready to offer support in any way I can. And if any of those, if any of what I just said do not come to your mind exactly how I just said it, if they drop the bomb on you and tell you about what they're really thinking and what's going on with them, then just simply tell them that you're there for them, that you care about them. Just tell them that. It's that simple. It really goes a long way, no matter how simple you think it is. Now, the next thing you can do to help is to come up with a safety plan or know their safety plan. If they don't have a safety plan, you need to help them come up with a safety plan. And what is a safety plan? A safety plan is exactly what it sounds like. A safety plan, a plan to keep them safe when suicidal thoughts get really intense. And a safety plan can be knowing their warning signs and triggers, taking away all harmful objects around them so they don't, when like the suicidal thoughts get really intense, they don't get impulsive and just do it. So you need to take all harmful objects away from them. Maybe they can come up with a list of reasons to reconsider suicide, or a list of emergency numbers to call when the suicidal thoughts are really persistent. A safety plan really, really is very helpful because it serves as a backup plan whenever you are not available and they need extra support. Now, another thing you can do, which I feel like this is very important, is to talk to someone else about it. Now, talking to someone else about it doesn't mean that you go around telling everyone close to you that, oh my God, did you hear that this girl, she's struggling with suicidal thoughts and oh my God, I don't know what to do. No, don't do that. That's not what I'm telling you to do. That might make the situation worse for the person that is struggling. So instead, you can talk to your parents or a counselor or even your therapist about it. A doctor, I don't know, just talk to someone elder that you feel like is in a better position to help them. You need to do this because holding that kind of information that is shared with you can actually be very burdening, and you just start to feel responsible for them and their actions. If you know that you're the only person that knows about it, it comes with a lot of burden. So you need to talk to someone else about it to, help you help them. I don't know if you understand that. When the person struggling finds out that you told someone else, they'll probably get mad. I feel like they're bound to get mad, but that's okay. You did what you had to do because you really did care and you felt like it was too much for only you, and that's okay. That's fine. You'd rather support your friend in any way you can than to, attend their funeral because they died by suicide. This reminds me of an episode of Love, Victor. It was a series I really loved. There was this guy, his mom was struggling with depression, and so like their house was always a mess. He didn't usually have friends over because his mom was, always on the couch, eating, watching movies all day long. The house was disorganized. And so finally, he told his girlfriend about it, and when he told his girlfriend, he brought his girlfriend into the house to see how things were, and everywhere was so like it was looking terrible. So the girl, she went home and she told her mom about it. Now, the guy was hurt because she promised not to tell anyone, but she had to tell her mom because she felt like it was too much of a burden for the guy to be carrying, and it was probably too much for her, and she just wanted to offer help. And so she told her mom about it, and her mom offered support by, paying for the therapy bills, the bills of the mom, and the mom got better. But anyways, what I forgot to add was that the guy broke up with the girl because she told her mom about it. But anyways, you get the picture. Just try and talk to someone else about it, someone else that can offer more support and more help. Now, another thing you can do is to get informed. You need to read about it, whatever your friend or loved one is struggling with, whether that's passive suicidal thoughts, like I talked about last week, suicidal ideation, or depression, anxiety, panic attacks, whatever it is. You need to improve your knowledge about what they're struggling with so that you have better chances of getting them help. You have better resources. You understand what exactly it is that they're going through, whether that's by reading blog posts of people that have experienced it, or reading books, or listening to podcasts like this one to help them. You just need to really get informed and understand them better. This helps you see things from a different perspective. And I want you to know that if they do not open up to you immediately when you check in, like I said at the beginning when I was like, you should text them and check up on them. Just ask them plainly if they're okay, if they're struggling with suicidal thoughts and all of that. Now, if they do not open up to you about what they're struggling, and even when you tell them the warning signs that you saw, if they still say, no, I'm fine, don't push it. Don't pressure them. Don't pressure them to open up to you. The best thing you can do in situations like this is to constantly check in on them and just let them know that you're always available whenever they are ready to talk. Now, this episode is a strong call to just check up on your friends or loved ones, the ones that seem happy all the time, the ones that have been more quiet lately, the ones that have just lost a loved one, the one that is currently going through a breakup. I tell you, you might think breakup is a minor thing. It really wouldn't trigger any, bad, suicidal, depressive thoughts, but breakup is hard. So if you know anyone that is struggling or, handling a breakup right now, just check up on them, or even the person that, never asks for help and just comes off as strong to everyone, and the friend that is always busy. You need to check up on them. I'm charging you today to check up on all your friends. It's reminding me last week. Yeah, it was last week. I texted some of my friends to check up on them, and they were like, what's going on? Did I see them in my dream? But just check up on your friends. Just tell them that you still care, even though life gets busy and you get, really focused on your own problems and stuff and everything going on in your life. You still care about them. Just let them know that you're there for them no matter what it is. So just, yes, check up on your friends. It's really important. It really goes a long way. And I want you to remember that you are not responsible for your friends' actions or behavior. If they are unwilling to help themselves, it's not your fault, and you can't control what they decide to do. All you can do is offer support and be there for them. So don't pressure yourself too much and don't feel responsible for their actions. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the podcast. If you're new here, please subscribe on the podcasting platform you're using to listen. And also, if you loved this episode, if you found it very helpful, please let me know. If you're related to me, you can tell me on my WhatsApp, or you can, tag me on Instagram. The links are in the description, and also to my Twitter account. You can tag me there and also follow me if you do want more content like this. I'll see you next Monday, where I talk about how to really prevent suicide and also how to dispel myths about suicide.